Good morning. Today is October 4th, 2020. And we've got a rain day today, so I'm in the office recording today's talk and meditation. So I invite you to get still and just allow yourself to be in this moment right now. And we just allow ourselves to breathe. Take a nice deep breath. Just breathe. Just take a nice deep breath to just put ourselves in this position at this moment of now to just be in the presence of the stillness and the quiet. If you can, put your hands on your lap and both feet on the ground. And just give yourself this time to just connect with that sweet spirit that resides within you and in everyone. But it is up to us to connect with that spirit. For the spirit is sitting there waiting for us. Kind of like a puppy waiting for its owner to come home. It sits and waits. And it wants to be heard, wants to be known, and wants to be loved and cared for. So let's take this moment to love on that sweet spirit, that spirit that is sitting, waiting for you. So we just close our eyes and allow ourselves to breathe in, going within, to connect with that spirit, to connect with that knowingness of that all connectedness. The thing that binds the universe together is this spirit, is this entity, this life within us. So we bring our inner eyes down to our heart. And we just see our heart pumping, flowing our body with the beautiful vessel of blood that runs through and just keeps everything humming along. And so we look into our heart and we see the love that's sitting there. That love that permeates every part of our being with every breath we take. For both the pumping of our heart and the breathing we do is automatic. Our body knows to do this. So we go within to see our heart working with no stress, no strain. It just does its job. Bump, bump, bump. Feel that. Feel that pulsating within us. Place your hand over your heart and allow yourself to feel the power within this simple organ that runs everything. Without it, we move to a different dimension. But here we are, right here, right now, feeling the pulsating of our heart. For this connectedness to our beingness is vital to our heart's well-being. By getting still and just being in the presence of pure spirit, we strengthen our heart. We let go of the concerns of the outer world, and we just allow ourselves to breathe. Just be. Just be with ourselves. Let go of the outer world and all that awaits us. And we just allow ourselves to be okay with right where we are. No desires, no discomfort, only the calmness and the beating of our heart. Drop your shoulders, release the tension, and just be. Be okay in this moment, right here, right now. And so as we enter the silence, we allow the silence to guide us versus us pushing the silence. We just allow the silence to take over, to be okay with this brief moment of quiet. Quiet in our minds, quiet in our bodies. We just be. So let us go within. So ever so gently we bring ourselves back to this moment, to this time. And in our own special way, we give gratitude for knowing that at any time we can choose to seek out the spirit within. And so it is. Amen. And so it is. Amen. Well, good morning again. This is Reverend Monica Driscoll, and I'm glad to be back with you. My 3 weeks away were a lot of fun. I really played, which is so wonderful to do. And it was good to come back home and be in my own bed and own shower. But I'm glad to be with you today. So the rain has brought us in, and I hope you didn't fast forward over to the talk and miss the meditation. But of course, you can always tap into this video on our YouTube channel to get the meditation again if you'd like. All good. So today I wanted to share with you our mission. You know, we are on a mission, and so I'm going to share my screen and allow you to see this. I'm going to try. There. Okay, going to try. So this is our mission. Our mission to transforming lives, inspiring people to make a positive difference in our world. And so this notion of how do we transform not only our life, but everyone else's life too. There's so many different ways to do this, right? But the most important thing in this mission is to recognize that our lives are being transformed right here in this community. And one of the ways that we do this, there's multiple ways, but the primary way that I've noticed that has seemed to gravitate with our community is the above the line and the below the line behavior. And so how do we do that? So we've got this notion that when we do the right thing, we're above the line. When things don't go well, we're below the line. And we don't necessarily feel good for having gone below the line, but we're uplifted when we've made a conscious decision to do the right thing. And I've heard you tell me that message of below the line and above the line behavior has transformed your life. Spirit groups is another way that we transform lives. Several of you have told me how important being a part of a spirit group has been, even during this shutdown period. Spirit groups is a vital connection, not only to another human being, but it takes the message that we get on Sundays and it allows us to go deeper. It allows us to see material, read material, watch a video that helps us take our 5 tenets into the next level of our spiritual growth. You see, my job is to bring God to you, but you must receive God, however you define that. And spirit groups is a great way to connect with another human being in a small group setting. And it's very comforting. It's very easy to be part of a spirit group. And so the third way that we transform lives is through our cue process, which is a triggering mechanism. It's a process where we are triggered by something negative and we get to turn it around into looking at our behavior around that trigger. So I wanted to let you know, and folks have come to me with the cue process and have shared that their life is completely different from having done the cue process. So these 3 methods are absolutely available to you to have your life transformed. Now, how do we transform the lives of others? Very simply, we model how our life has been transformed, and that automatically will generate people coming into your presence and wanting that same experience. And they will ask you, you seem really calm with your life. You seem really positive and upbeat. And you'll be able to share your transformational story with them. And one of the other ways that we help transform others is we make sure that our community center, Unity Spiritual Center, is always here to help transform others. It's called the Ownership Project. We take ownership for our community, and we do this because we've been transformed and we want others to have that transformation. That's the mission. We want to be able to have the materials and the skill set and the teachers and the center itself to be available to help people have the opportunity to choose to have their life transformed. There's many ways to do that. And so I wanted to share with you something that happened to me right before we left on vacation. I made a pit stop. I was in Daytona, and I made a pit stop. And, I very rarely go into the stores during this time. I always ask myself the question, is this important? Can it wait? And so I made the decision to go into the store. So as I'm leaving the store with my purchase, I see somebody back up and hit my beautiful blue truck. I hear metal crashing. I hear the car, just the impact of this other vehicle. And I am, whoa, oh my God, someone just hit my vehicle. And I have been triggered. The man that's in this SUV that hit my truck is pulling away. He has no intention of stopping. And I'm like, hey, buddy. I mean, I am vocal, I am out there. I do not want this person to drive away. But the whole time I'm yelling at this man, I hear myself saying, calm down, Mo, calm down, take a breath. But there was these competing forces within me. And I struggled and I went, oh my God, take a breath. Who took a breath? And he stopped. He got out of his car and he said, what's the matter? And I said, you just hit my vehicle. I hear that competing voice again. Calm down. You're talking to another human being. Breathe. And he said, I only tapped it, if that. And I said, oh my God, no, I heard. Calm down. And I've got this thing. And of course, this whole scene is less than 60 seconds, And I go to the back of my vehicle and there is no damage. None. Not so much as a scuff mark. And I went, oh my God. I mean, I heard metal crushing. I heard the fiberglass. I heard it clear as day. My truck has been hit. And he said, lady. And I went, I caught my breath again. And I went, it really looked like you hit my vehicle. And he went, if I did, I only barely touched it. There's nothing. And I said, I am so sorry, that I screamed it. It looked like a lot more than that. And he said, hey, no problem. I'm just glad nothing happened. And he got in his car and drove away. I got into my truck and I went, oh my goodness gracious, what just happened? I was so triggered. I was so clear that my truck had been hit. And then I knew, because of the Q training, that I had been hijacked. My mind was hijacked. And it took over and it built up in my memories, probably from watching videos and movies, of that noise that you hear when another car is hit. And I went for it. My mind created this scene that didn't happen. I was very grateful there was nothing wrong with my truck. But I sat in my vehicle and I went through a phase 3 worksheet that is part of the Q training. And I went through all of it. And I realized that I was triggered from a previous memory. And it didn't have anything to do with the truck getting hit. It had to do with being so excited about leaving on a vacation and then having it squelched. And for me, my vehicle getting hit meant that I wasn't going to be able to tow our trailer and our trip was off. I had sabotaged emotionally my trip for my vacation. Now I bring this up because this is what we do when we are triggered by an outside event happening to us. We get hijacked. Literally, I was hijacked. But because of me doing the trainings, teaching it and talking about it, I had competing forces. They were trying to calm me down, to not be explosive. And I had to really listen to that inner voice. But without the training, I wouldn't have been able to recognize. And maybe that inner voice wouldn't have talked at all. I would have just been off on the hijack. So I bring this up because the Q training is it's not about what you're doing. It's about what's happened to me. Why am I reacting in this way? And so we have this above the line and the below the line behavior, but sometimes we're hijacked where things happen and we're not even aware that it's going on. We're on automatic pilot and we're below the line when it happens. And then when it's all said and done, we go, why did I react that way? What happened? And that's where our Q training will allow us to take a look at what is going on within me that caused that reaction. And it becomes about me changing, not the other person. And that's part of the ownership project. The ownership of taking accountability and responsibility for the things that happen in our life. Now, we can go a little off on this. The metaphysical malpractice principle can kick in. When I first got into Unity, I became very aware of the law of mind action, our third tenet. And it told me that I was responsible for everything happening in my life. And I went, really? Everything? How is that possible? And over the years, I've come to recognize that I really am. Now, that doesn't make me a bad person when things don't go well. It just makes me aware that on an unconscious level, I have amassed this situation in my life. And metaphysics teaches us that when something happens, it's an opportunity for us to take a look at our side of that behavior. What is it that I did that created that in a healthy way? Not in a way that, well, what is it about you that happened? And we bash somebody about it. That's the malpractice of this principle. But the true essence of this principle is for us to say, something has just happened, and I need to take a look at it, whatever that is. If you're emotionally triggered by anything that's going on in your world, the Q process can help you resolve that. Don't you want to be at peace with yourself? I know I do. And I want to lend to you the principles that cause that allow that to happen for you, to be more at peace than you were the day before. See, the Q training is I think, one of the most essential processes in our humanness in this 21st century, where we get to take a look in not a negative way, but in an exploratory way that says, I have just been angered. I have just been pushed over the edge. I find myself getting upset. And I can use the Q training to take a look at what caused that and change my mind. So when I get to that episode happening again in my life, I'm less triggered or not triggered at all because I now know where it's coming from. So the Q training is just one of the 3 ways that we bring ourselves into being owners of our spiritual growth. And when we can tap into that and take ownership, it changes the way that we view our community center. We now come to church knowing that we're here to help others get that experience as well, which brings us back to our mission statement, which is we help others' lives be transformed as well. So these are the 3 things that we're using in our ministry to help us get out of the mindset, what's it about you that I'm angry? But rather, what's it about me that I'm not okay with what's going on? What do I need to do to make a shift? And then our life is transformed. And people want to feel good about themselves. They do. They want life to be free of obstacles. It's never, our lives are not easy, but they can be less tumultuous. They definitely can. And how do you do that? The Q training is one of those tools. And spirit groups is a way for us to dive in a group setting and listen to the principles and take it in a much more deeper level than our Sunday message could offer. So spirit groups is not only a great way to connect with another human being, but also to connect within for our own spiritual growth, to take a look at the principles, to take a look at how is our life operating in and outside of these principles. And when we know more about these principles and how it affects our spiritual development, we will stay more above the line. And it becomes a regular process for us that our behavior. We see one person told me that they've got a black line on their hand when they're out in public to remember to stay above the line. Whatever tool you need. There's so much material out there for us to learn. Our spirit groups is starting October 13th, a week from this Tuesday at 2:30. And we're going to be looking at we're going to be looking at some material that is just vital, and we'll have videos to help us go through it. And the Q training also starts on the 14th at 3:00. And both of these programs are for 6 weeks. I mean, what else have you got to do for 6 weeks? Let's do this. Let's continue our process. So the front doors is not open and it's not unlocked. But our process of our spiritual development still goes on. We've got a situation in our life, this pandemic thing, the doors are all opening up and we're all making different decisions and the squares are opening up and all of our activities are going to resume, but we also have a situation. So we get to reevaluate how does that apply to our lives? And how do we use our faculty of imagination and our faculty of judgment and wisdom in a positive way, in a way that helps our lives be transformed, and it helps us lend the message for others to have their lives transformed. We are in a period in our spiritual growth. Later this week, I'm going to be doing a center update, and we're going to talk about where are we in our mission-centric opportunity here. We've been in mission-centric for 1.5 years under the tutelage of Coach Gary Simmons. And so we have these phases of our development that we're smack dab in the middle of. We haven't stopped the process because of our Sunday doors being closed. In fact, we're moving full steam ahead with it. So we've got this window of opportunity. And I just wanted to remind folks that we've got our board elections are coming up, and our nominations committee is going to start forming. And so we're going to be looking for people who want to step up and help us in this process as a board member. And the Q training is one of those areas that we highly recommend that you take so that you can be in alignment with the rest of the board members. And also, spirit groups it's so vital to be part of our community beyond just the Sunday Zoom. We're so much more than just sitting at 10 o'clock watching our YouTube video. We're so much more that is going on. We're right in the middle of a book study with our licensed Unity teacher, Denny Ralston. It's going very, very well. We have a Wednesday afternoon prayer service going very well. You can join us in person, or you can watch it through our YouTube Zoom channel. So you get to decide where you want your spiritual growth to be, because we're wide open. It's just a different way to be wide open. But we're here. We're here for you, and we're transforming lives, one life at a time. And so I hope that you'll let us help you use these tools to transform your life. So your homework today is to take a look at spirit groups and the Q process starts next week. It's a short 6-week window where you can be totally infilled with life-transforming principles that will move you off some of your stuck areas, because we all have them. We all have them. We all have these triggers that take over and hijack us because of some preconceived notion of a negative event. And so we get to take a look at these. So yes, the Q process does cost money, but never let money dissuade you from doing something that helps you further your spiritual growth. The door is open for you. We will never turn you away, no matter what your financial situation is. So never let that be your reason for not doing something here at our center. Our doors are open, and we are open to anyone who wants to take these lessons and these trainings. So if you've got somebody in your universe that might benefit from this, please encourage them to take it. Spirit groups is an ongoing process. So is the Q training. Some of you have taken the Q training, but it never hurts to take it again, because we have these tools, and the Q training now is all online. So there's another way with which to grab these principles and instill them in our mind to become an everyday event. Every day, to be able to look at what's the matter with me that I'm triggered by this external event or an internal event. Maybe we talk negative about ourselves, let alone how we might verbalize talking negative about others. This is how we transform lives. So we're moving forward with these things. Our fourth quarter is smack dab filled with lots of good activities, and you're going to hear a lot more of it in the next couple of weeks. We've got 2 social activities that you're going to hear about in the next couple of weeks that are all going to happen in October. We've got some great things happening at our ministry, and I hope you decide to be an active part of that. Come join us as we transform our lives and we assist others to have their life transformed as well. Godspeed, love you, and we'll see you soon. Bye now.